you guys, welcome back to Lighthouse Ministries, where we tell our testimony how God led us from the darkness into the light.
Okay, so what are we talking about today?
Today we are discussing our move to Dallas, Texas. Finally. I think we were supposed to make this video. We just have been like...
Yeah, we've been talking about making it, but... Yeah, so the move to Dallas, Texas. Before we get into the video, though, how has it been to you, like, in Dallas?
It's been great. Yeah, we've been going through some stuff, but it's been great. I'm not gonna lie, we've been learning some stuff, getting through some stuff, learning new stuff.
I can say the houses are better than where we came from.
Definitely.
Way more expensive.
Weather
is better
no, it
if you
ain't.
like the heat.
Nope.
It's hot.
But I'd rather have the heat than super Milwaukee 10 degrees. So I'd rather have that. So
we come from where it was cold all year. Not all year, but
for a long period of time.
Up north, so it definitely was cold in Wisconsin. Let me see. The food.
No.
We haven't got a chance to get around to a lot of the food places, even though we've been here for a year now.
The thing is, we are different type of eaters. Dallas, they have more of like very different culture food. So I can say Mexican.
Yeah. And we haven't really got into it just yet.
Yeah, but the stuff we have ate pretty well.
Yeah.
What I like is the environment.
Yeah,
it's not too loud. It's not too ghetto.
Yeah. To me personally,
it's very better
Dallas,
than where we came from.
At nighttime, it's like a ghost town. It's
nobody outside.
Where we come from,
everybody
at least
outside.
the areas that we have been in. It could be some bad areas, but we've been in some rough areas.
But it haven't been that bad in those little rough areas.
Nowhere near as bad as it was
where we came from. No.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was.
Wouldn't even want to go outside past 7 o'clock. It was time to that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in the video. But okay, let's get to it. So.
Okay.
The journey to Dallas, Texas is the intro, right? Okay.
Whoop, whoop.
So, where do we start? Want to just go off the list?
We're going to go off the list. That's what we plan.
So, you can start talking about being uncomfortable.
First of all, we was already uncomfortable in Milwaukee. We just don't put that out there.
So, I think the first thing that we noticed in our journey to Dallas was God made us very uncomfortable in Wisconsin. It was just...
Nothing was going well. Not as much as we wanted to.
We don't watch the news. Let's just put that out there.
We
don't watch the news. But everywhere we looked, we just kept seeing murders,
and all
killings.
Stuff.
It was a baby and all the... It was just a lot of...
Very unsafe environment, I can say.
A lot of bad things going on in that city at that time. And God was making us aware of it to the point where... Excuse me. We couldn't go to Walmart... Without
somebody trying to hurt you, like Walmart.
Literally, she had a bad experience with somebody at Walmart.
And I never went back to that Walmart again.
It was just...
I was like, I don't
Which
like
Walmarts are always kind of dangerous sometimes, but it was just 10 times worse in that city. And then what really got to us with the uncomfortable... When God made us uncomfortable, we kind of knew it was time for us to get ready and leave soon. To kind of just give us that nudge to push us out the door.
Yeah.
But in our apartment, which we talked about in one of our other videos, it ended up getting shot up.
Oh, yeah.
We was living in an apartment, and it was just a lot of stuff going on in the apartment unit under us directly.
Yeah.
And all the time, they was shooting up the apartment.
Shooting it up.
Literally gunshots. We'll go downstairs and there's bullet holes in the walls. We had to grab our children and get down. We didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was just shootouts and so much violence inside of the apartment.
It was just a lot of violence where we was coming from. And it wasn't a good place we wanted to be at to raise our children that we got. So.
You want to tell the story? We took out the trash?
Never again. Took out the fact is, when you think of like shooting, it's nighttime. You be like, okay, it's middle of the night. It was like 6 o'clock and it was daytime, and shooting out, taking out the trash. Girl, I almost.
Yeah, it was just
never.
It was very uncomfortable.
It was very uncomfortable.
It wasn't that bad at all until like we didn't realize it.
That's the thing. We didn't realize how bad it was because we was used to it.
Yeah.
Remember and I was raised in Milwaukee, and I was used to that type of lifestyle. So it didn't really, when you get used to something like that, it doesn't bother you. Be like, oh, okay, whatever.
Well, I can't say you was used to it. You never really was in the hood that close.
No, I wouldn't. I would never go that close. I'm used to it
because I actually lived in the hood where that happened. But the last couple of years, it was just kind of smooth. We would hear about it, but it's worse when it's inside your home.
We actually weren't in the environment of it where it was happening at until we moved there.
So God made us very uncomfortable. He was making us aware of everything that was going on around us. Like the city was burning. Literally, it was like the whole city was burning down. It was just terrible.
Everywhere you go, unsafe. People on he pushed us out. He made it very clear. Yeah, this is not where you want to be.
Yeah. So the second thing was actually being cutting ties with friends and family.
Whoever. That's what I'm gonna
whoever, people. A lot happened at that time. Like God started like severing ties with certain people. Like family and friends would like just start acting different. You know?
I can say they were showing their true colors before, but they was really showing their true
some people just wouldn't even text us.
They wouldn't even talk to us at all. And then if they did, it was always just something negative, something bad, or trying to tell us something that we didn't want to hear that was negative, basically.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant at all. We actually got kind of agitated with a lot of people. Which we'll talk about in just a second. Which was bringing me to the third thing, was getting sick. So now we actually start talking about the actual process.
The process of how God kind of...
Some of the things that happened. So I'll let you tell the getting sick story.
Since it's my fault all the time, every time we tell this story, it wasn't.
It was.
He let me win anyways.
It definitely was.
So, I just had a baby. He was 3 months around that time when we got sick. So, I think it was around Easter, I believe. Yeah, it was Easter. To give y'all a little insight, sometimes family will call and pressure me to see him a lot. And I kept telling them no, because I'm like, he's a newborn. He can't be outside and kissed on and touched on. Remember, it was still the pandemic. People were still getting sick and dying from that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know I don't want that until he get a couple months older. So I finally decided, well, I was honestly pressured into it because I was tired of them calling me, asking me about it. Yeah. Don't let nobody pressure you until you seeing your kids. Don't do it. Don't block their number if that's the case. Family or not. I was kind of pressured, so I was like, you know what? I'm finna go take him. I ain't take my daughter because she was a little cuckoo, so she stayed with her dad that day. I took him. I kicked it with the family, whatever. A lot of people was there, though. But the thing is, I ain't hear no coughing. But they was touching him a lot. I should have been more focused on them washing their hands. But when you tell people to wash their hands, they kind of sound a rule like they dirty. So I didn't mention it a lot, which I should have did. And then, I spent a couple hours there. I came home, whatever. Okay, he had a good time there. He really don't like people as much. Yeah. But he had a good time, and we ended up coming home, whatever. So, I overlooked it. Okay, I let them see him. Don't call me again and ask me now. Y'all didn't see him already. Just take me a break. 3 days later, he coughing. I'm like, babe, what is that?
So he got sick.
I think it was 3 days later after that.
And then we ended up getting sick. And the whole house got sick, and it was so terrible.
And then eventually we realized what it was. We can't say directly because you know how YouTube, you can't say that specific word. But
you can say COVID now.
You can?
Yeah, you can say COVID.
Well, we caught that. First he had it. Then it came down to the whole family. Yeah. All of us was sick for 2 weeks.
As I remind you, he's 2 months.
He was about 2 to 3 months. So
our daughter was about
1.5.
1.5, and having COVID. And just a side note, I lost my mom to COVID.
So it was really something serious we took. Like, it was something that we really took serious.
Taking it like personal, and we was in our prayers, and we're praying to God to help us get through COVID. Family didn't understand. They was like, well, bring him back over here. Like, no, we have COVID,
kept calling to bring, kids just get sick. Not with that.
And the worst thing about getting that type of virus is that you can catch it again.
Yeah, you can. And then it get worse and worse every time you catch it. So
we decided to, just cut people
and that's
off
what that kind of connects
understand.
with cutting ties off with other people because they didn't care. They didn't wanted to understand the situation.
Our children's safety wasn't important to some people.
Them. So,
but that's a whole nother story,
Yeah, but that's just getting sick.
So the reason why we mentioned getting sick because we prayed for healing and God spoke to us and He actually told us that I'm going to heal you. And took 2 weeks later, and all of us was perfect. Our children was perfect.
Nobody had to go to the doctor.
No.
Everything was back in check.
We never had to go to the doctor. We never had to go to the hospital. God literally healed us from that. And right after being sick is when God spoke to us and said, it's time to move.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of explain that one a little bit. The it's time to move portion. Okay. It's funny because we was in a big argument for no reason.
Who was fighting?
She had some issues where she wanted something or whatever was the argument was about.
Couldn't get it.
But sometimes I realized that the enemy would distract us by confliction in our marriage.
Yeah.
So we actually was in the middle of
something when God was speaking.
Yeah, what God wanted us to do, a new journey, a promise, a new blessing.
Something major.
We was praying to get out of that city for about 2 years.
Praying for a long time, and we could never really do it on our own.
Yeah.
And then God showed us, like, I can do it.
And in the middle of the argument, I was like, well, I'm going to tune her out.
Yeah.
And I actually turned on our favorite pastor at that time, Pastor Richardson. And I started watching his sermon, and then the Holy Spirit was just nudging me to pay attention to what he was saying. And then I paid attention, and he was just saying, like, it's time to move. Yeah. God is waiting on you to get up and go.
That thing you praying to God for, He's waiting for you. And I'm not gonna lie, we already knew what it was. We didn't even have to think about it. We looked at each other like, yeah, God is definitely telling us.
The first time I watched it, she missed it.
I missed it the first time. I was agitated. Yeah,
I had to go replay the video for her.
Yeah,
so she can kind of get it because
get the understanding of it.
Yeah, she missed it with her agitation. That's a whole nother video that's coming soon about agitation.
That's a good video.
Yeah. It make you miss a lot, but in the midst of that moment, we was like, okay, God, so you telling us to move. We thought we was moving to Minnesota.
We thought we was going to go to a place that was closer to home.
Minnesota was 6 hours away from Wisconsin.
6 hours away. God, like, no.
I'm trying to keep the video a little lower, in time. I don't want to make the video super long, but anyways, we decided, let's just pray and see where God wanted us to go to. And at first, we didn't get no answer. Yeah. We didn't get an answer that day. I think it was the next day, or later that night, actually. But I ended up speaking to her, and I was like, well, what if God wanted us to move to Dallas? And she was like, no.
My first answer was no. And I'm going to tell you why. I heard it was hot down here, and it just seemed too far, which it is hot. We're going to keep
110 degrees weather in August.
I think as years go back, I got a seed planted to my mind that Dallas wasn't that good as it was. So I was like, I don't think so. It's too far.
Even when I tell people to this day, like I'm in Dallas, I'm like, oh, why you moving?
Yes, but
they didn't understand.
But then I agree with it. I thought about it, and I said, why not? It's
yeah.
I don't care. I'm trying to get up out of here.
So that brings us into the signs. After it's the signs and confirmations. After I said that,
we began to pray.
We was like, well, maybe it is Dallas. And then that's when God started giving us confirmations that it was Dallas. So these are some of the confirmations that we got. It's way too many to list all of them.
It's a lot. We're going to list the ones that was major that really made us be like, yeah, God is definitely telling us.
What was the first confirmation to you?
I think my very first confirmation was, it's so many of them.
Yeah, it is, honestly.
I'm going to just say the pastor. It was just one pastor who was watching. Dang, I stole yours. It was this pastor. No, I will let you do that because you skipped to that part.
Okay. The first confirmation that I believe we received was watching a video of this couple, Meet the Teats. I don't know if you heard of them or not, but they was talking about their journey to Dallas and how they came from.
And it's crazy because they was coming from where we was coming from.
Yeah, they actually came from Wisconsin to Dallas. So we heard about them and we was like, oh wow, they went to Dallas. And we was like, well, maybe we are going to Dallas.
Maybe.
So we decided, like, God, if you're sending us to Dallas, give us more confirmation.
Please, so we can know.
So that same night, we was watching, I think his name was Jonathan Evans. Or
it was one of the Tony Evans' son. I don't know which one. I think he just got one, a football player. And he was preaching about leaving. When God tell you to go, you leave. You don't stay. Don't be like, I think Lot's wife. And he just maybe start talking about Dallas, Texas Cowboys. Another confirmation. I didn't even know that's where he played. I didn't even know he played football.
He was talking about Dallas, Texas in his sermon. Again. And I just remind you, we didn't click the video because it said Dallas in it. It had nothing to do with Dallas, Texas.
Every video that we got confirmation on had nothing to do with Dallas, Texas. It was just random people talking. Well, not random, but preachers or people talking about God. And somehow they was either from Dallas, Texas, or they was preaching in Dallas, Texas. Potter House too, I think. We was watching one of his sermons.
T.D. Jakes, Potter House, was watching his sermon. And that's what we did a lot around the time. When we was in our coming closer to God, we actually stayed in sermons. We was on YouTube sermons all day,
every day.
That was our life. We surround our life with our Bible and sermons. So we ended up watching Potter's House, and we didn't know that Potter House was actually
even in Dallas, Texas. Like I thought that was somewhere else.
We had no clue.
To make it short, everywhere we was looking,
it was there.
Dallas, Texas. God was confirming it everywhere.
The final thing that really got my attention, because at some point I started thinking, like, okay, is this YouTube?
What you call it?
Algorithm.
Yeah, I was going to call it
like, is they just showing us videos about Dallas? But even though they didn't have Dallas in the title, it was like, okay, well, let's just click a random
video.
A random pastor that I've never watched before. I don't know his name. And I'm actually going to fast forward the video. And if this pastor says anything about Dallas, Texas,
that's what it was.
We're moving.
Yeah.
So I click a random video of a pastor. He's talking, and then I fast forward to the exact spot, and he said, well, in my office, it's a flag or a sign from Dallas, Texas Cowboys. And he was explaining Dallas, Texas.
We heard that. We was like, that's it.
Yeah.
God is telling us this is where we going. We didn't need no more confirmations.
Yeah, even though we still got a lot of
after that, God is still, one thing about God, he's going to still keep letting you know.
He's going to make sure you know.
You know. Like
you're not going to miss it. He's going to make sure you know. He's going to keep
everywhere you see, you're going to see wherever he's going to guide you to.
So now we heard that we was already ready to move. He made everything uncomfortable for us. We got sick, family ties. He told us where we moving to, but we didn't hear when or how.
Just yet.
So we decided to be disobedient.
This is the disobedient part that some of us probably do.
Thing that God, sorry about that, thing that God told us was actually to stay still and wait on Him.
But I thought that thing wasn't enough.
it was as long as I had the headphones in. But He told us to stay still and wait on Him. So we decided that we're finna get a job. We're gonna save money. We're gonna buy a car. And we're gonna drive ourselves to Dallas whenever we got the time. And we finna just go.
We finna do our own thing since God already told us.
And let's just say that was the worst idea we could have made. When God tells you to wait on Him, He'll give you the instructions. Wait on Him.
One thing I want to say is when God tells you to do something, you're not going to do it on your own. It's going to be all Him. It's all going to be in His glory. He's going to do it the way He wants to do it. So He could be glorified in that situation.
Yeah. So we have no money saved up. And I want to say that we was broke.
Yeah, no
we
car,
didn't have a job.
No money, no job.
We was barely getting by every day.
Yeah.
So we was like, how are we going to move to Dallas, Texas with nothing? So let's get a job. So
So I went first because the daycare wasn't really kicking in just yet. And I think I already had some of my information down. So that's why I did go first. And, we started working this job. I hated it so bad. Never want to do it again.
Yeah. Terrible.
I feel like I was it was miserable. And I'm thinking like in my head, God, if this... God, what is this? I thought we were supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
And it was miserable. We would fight. I was so tired. It was too much, I can say. So, it was just too much.
She went to work first. I stayed home with the kids until the daycare came. Because she had everything set up for the job. I didn't have myself set up just yet. She ended up was told like after the second week of working,
Yeah,
the lady said,
done. Like you off schedule.
Go home, pretty much.
Literally, I think I stopped working there that Saturday. I was off the schedule the whole week.
She said, "We're not gonna need you no more this week, so you can go home."
Like, whoop.
So we said,
that must not be it, babe.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, if you wanted us to save the money,
how we gonna work? I mean, we can't find no job. And the thing is, we was applying for other places too, but no call
no
back,
job would answer
no
us.
Nothing.
So I decided, you know what? It's my turn. Got the daycare going. They're a little bit more friendlier to men's at that certain job.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm going to go, and then she's going to join me, and we're going to work together at this job, and we're going to hopefully be able to get the money together. So I was planning on going to the job the next day. Okay, I was planning on going to the job the next day. It's funny for a reason, but
oh man,
I decided, okay, well, I'm walking to the store because I guess we needed something in the house. Yeah. But I said, I'm finna take a walk. It's hot outside anyway. Let's take a walk to the store. It was around June. Mm-hmm. It was around June, or July. Sorry.
Okay.
So we taking a walk. I'm taking a walk to the store. I go outside before I can even get like to the street or to the sidewalk from our apartment. I fall, and it was the worst fall ever. Like, no, I didn't touch the ground, but I twisted my ankle, and it was terrible. I wanted to scream, cry, like. Dude, I'm
sorry, I'm trying to hold it together over here.
It was, she laughed at the fall at that, so, you know.
It was the reaction of the fall.
She should have been praying for me how bad I felt. I
did.
I felt so hard. I felt like I got punched by an angel. Like,
dang near did.
Like, I don't know if you guys know, was it Elijah or was it Joseph? When the angel touched his side and changed his name? In the Bible?
It's one of them.
Yeah. Anyways, I think it was Joseph. But yeah, so I fall and I'm in pain and like I'm hot, I get dizzy, I'm like just about to vomit.
Definitely think that.
And I was like, this is not a normal fall.
This is not.
I fall all the time. Like
all the time.
I literally just felt like a week ago.
I'm sorry.
It should not be this funny, but I fell. Pray for me, but I fell so hard that it was just like, I don't know, like I explained it as getting punched by an angel, or getting like.
Said that's what it felt like.
Stopped in my track, and I immediately was like, okay, I have to sit down.
This must not be it.
So, the only thing that comes to my head is, why would this happen at the time where I'm finna start working tomorrow?
Yeah.
When we were trying to save money to go to Dallas. So immediately, I knew right then and there, I need to.
This is not what it is.
Yeah, she got kicked off the job.
Yeah.
I'm injured now. And so I was like, yep,
no.
God, I'm sorry.
Saying no.
But I apologize. We're being disobedient. He told us to stand
still.
Had
to be.
And wait on him. The thing is,
we ignored the part where he said stand still. That's what sometimes we do. We try to go do our own way, our own thing. We ignored the part that he said, be still and let me do my job. Let me work on this. And
God wanted to get the glory from our move and not allowing us to work. Was it? So I immediately changed my mind about going to work. I didn't need any more confirmations on that.
Yeah,
that was painful.
Because the week of working that job, I was going through spiritual warfare.
Oh, it was terrible.
My mind was confused. It was too much. It was too much working. I was always tired. I remember times where I get off work, he didn't deal with the kids half of the day. It was my turn. I couldn't even stay up.
Yeah, she couldn't even.
That job wore me out. Kid. And I'm like, this must not be it, because ain't no way God gonna give you a job that's gonna worry you about that much. But I'm like, this must not be it. And then I knew it was it once they took me off the schedule. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going back. We got to figure something else out.
Yeah, it was terrible. So that's us being disobedient. We was never supposed to go to work.
Supposed to do it.
We said, you know what? If we get there, it's gonna be by God's glory and God's glory.
Whatever
alone.
God got prepared for us, we're gonna wait on God, because
what
we did was make it harder for ourselves. That's what we honestly we did.
And I want to explain that fall like one last time. After the fall, I went to the hospital. Doctor was like, well, you're going to be okay. You can take this pill. I put a cast on, and I was like completely healed in like 2 days.
I don't think he truly sprung it or
Like
fractured
the way it felt like my leg was falling off. But honestly, I was healed in like 2 days.
So I think that's when we started taking the kids to the daycare.
Yeah, we started walking our kids to daycare.
Good thing about that, we had daycare for about 2 months.
Yeah, so we actually had daycare for like.
We had time to spend time with each other. You know, get rid of our kids.
it was a good daycare thing. So that brings us into the next one. Preparation. Okay. So instead of working, God had us prepare in other ways.
Yeah.
So He told us to really get deeper with our Bible.
Into him. Mm-hmm.
We watched a sermon by Mike Todd. I don't know if you like him, heard about him, don't like him, but Mike Todd,
he's anointed.
He's a great pastor to us.
Yeah,
at least the old version.
Us through a lot. Yeah,
he's a little controversial today, but he has a video that I recommend watching about going into the deep.
Oh yes, that is a good sermon right there.
We knew at that time that it was time to go into the deep.
Yeah.
So we had to cut ties with everybody, everything.
So it was just me and him.
Yeah, it was
me and him and us and God. That's what it was.
Inside our house and God.
Yeah.
So it was quiet, it was boring, but we used to that, honestly. Okay, our daughter. Yeah, it's the day after her birthday. She'll look crazy, but pray for her too.
Please.
But preparation. So we ended up watching the sermon, and we decided like we're going to trust that God is going to lead us through it, and we ended up just standing to our Bible every day. We in prayer every day.
I wrote every day. I journaled every day.
Teaching us things that we needed
for the next season
to go into the next season. Also, He was telling us to pack our bags, and we're like, God, we don't have no money. We got no money.
See, in this preparation, we kept asking God, what do we do?
Yeah.
If we're not going to get any money, if we don't post to work, what do we do?
He didn't tell us when we was moving.
No,
and
not yet.
I know we didn't give a context, but He told us May 25th.
That was the very first
was going
time.
to move. And then this is around, I say, July?
Probably mid-July.
So it's like around July, and we're like, okay, God, you want us to pack our bags? Why? But we decided by faith, and faith carried us through the whole thing.
Yeah,
but
we faith talked it. We walked out every day. Imagine that we was already in Dallas, Texas. We looked at their homes. We looked at their pricing. We looked at the hotel we was gonna be in. We looked at a lot of stuff that was surrounded with Dallas. We just enjoy hearing Dallas. I remember times where I would really have the weather on my phone and just imagine I was already in Dallas. And sometimes that helps you because that gives you the faith that I'm going to be there someday. This is where I'm going to be. God has promised me this. This is where we're going to be. Where we are today.
It was kind of like I call it like childlike faith. You know, when a child is like, well, I'm finna dress up like a police officer because I want to.
And they just think they police officers, not taking people to jail in the house. So they have that, that belief that they really are doing that. So that's what we had to do. And then I remember He wanted us to work on ourselves. Like our marriage, get closer, gain closer, and He would just getting us prepared for that next season that was to come.
Ooh, excuse me, it's 4:30 a.m. But anyway, gotta be obedient. So He told us to pack our bags. We didn't know why, but we decided to pack our bags. He told us to find a hotel room, see how much a ticket was going to cost, see how much we needed to move to the Dallas, and we was like, you know what? God, I don't know how you're going to give it to us, but we need at least $1,000.
We're going to get it prepared. We're going to have it ready. So when our ProVenture comes, we know directly what we're supposed to do.
So He started giving me August around that time. And everywhere we looked, He started confirming to us August. We'll watch certain sermons.
When was the very first time we heard August? I think Pastor Richardson,
was watching a sermon.
One thing about Pastor Richardson, hopefully one day he watches our video. He would never say the specific months of what he's discussing. He'd say like months, but not the specific month that was in. And someday he just said August.
Also, what I actually didn't, we was preparing this video, but what I also don't think we talked about last night, actually, it was in the Bible, it was saying in the 8th month.
It was counting the days too,
and
I believe.
we knew that August
was the 8th month. It was coming.
And we was like, wait, August is the 8th month. And then, like I said, it was just so many
August everywhere.
confirmations.
Like we would watch testimonies and it would be August. Well, God told me this in August. God told me that in August. Well, I moved in August. And then sometimes they'd post a video in August. We seen August everywhere. We even seen August on license plates.
Yeah, it was.
It was everywhere. Also, another thing we seen was a lot of moving trucks that month.
Yeah, it was.
When I say the whole month, well, we weren't there the whole month of August, but the time before God moved us, we was just seeing moving trucks because we was walking our kids back and forth to daycare. Our daycare was like, 5 minutes away?
Yeah. The entire month of July, we was seeing moving trucks. God was telling us to pack our bags. He was telling us August.
Yeah.
So we got a date. It was like August, okay. And then I remember, I believe the Holy Spirit spoke to me. It was like August 6th.
Yeah.
But I didn't know for sure. I was like, okay, well, we're going to just see. But that's when faith got lower, especially with her.
I'm sorry. One thing I want to say is that was my beginning of knowing who God really was. I wasn't raised up in a family where I knew. Like our kids CoComelon. I wasn't raised up in a family where I knew God, but I didn't know of Him.
It wasn't as deep.
It was as deep. I can say, yeah. So I'm thinking like I'm used to us doing something to get somewhere. You gotta go to work. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. And I'm like, God, how we gonna get anywhere? We ain't got nothing coming.
Yeah.
And my hope got depleted because first of all, we had a lot of bills coming up around that time, and we wasn't working. I'm like, how we gonna pay this? And it was just bad.
So she started getting hope depleted. And quick story, because I know this video way too long. If you stick around to this long at that, but we ended up going to our daycare to pick up our kids, and they was having a swim thing on August 12th.
Yeah.
And she said, well, we need to go pick up some
I think a swimming suit for our daughter.
For our kids. For our daughter, and for them to go swimming with the other kids at the daycare. And I looked at her and I said, well, we're not going to be here. And I don't know why I said that, you know, but
so I just shrugged it off like, okay, I guess, but okay.
Yeah, by faith I said, well, we're not going to be here. So ended up August 6th come, was very hope deferred, like,
oh God, where is it? What were we doing?
She was crying that day.
I was like, I can't do this. It's taking too long, God. It's too much stuff coming up.
You said August, and it's August 6th. What's going on? It was after her birthday on August 2nd.
Yeah.
You know, we thought we'll be there by now. We thought at least we'll have like some kind of steps to get there. And then out of nowhere, we go check our mailbox.
Well, you go check the mailbox.
I checked the mailbox, and because God was landing on me, checking the mailbox a lot that week.
Yeah, a lot. He checked the mailbox for like every day. I checked
twice a day, every day. Cause
yeah.
I just heard a prophetic word, and she was like, it's going to come by mail. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to take that. So I check the mailbox August 6th, and it's a IRS tax check that we was not expecting.
The crazy thing about this check, it was not supposed to come in August. It was supposed to come around
October,
either late September, early October, something like that. It was not supposed to come in August. I remember we called a couple times, and the woman was like, "Well, that check ain't coming until later." And I'm like, "Well, okay." And that was.
And then at that, we didn't know that it was going to be that amount. It was
more than what was supposed to be. Actually,
it wasn't like $600-$700.
It was everything that we needed to go to Dallas.
Everything exactly what we prayed for that we needed to get to Dallas. It was like the full check. And I was like, okay, God raised up this amount of the check and pushed the timing up.
Yeah.
So immediately at that point, we was like, okay, we're moving to Dallas.
We're moving. And then to make it short, I know the video probably longer than it needs to be. I'm sorry.
So
we ended up leaving 3 days after that.
So we ended up catching the Greyhound bus.
Yeah, because we had 2 kids, car seats.
We had luggage, 2 kids, car seats.
We couldn't take no plane.
We didn't have our license, so we couldn't drive there in the U-Haul.
Yeah.
So we catching the Greyhound bus, and man, when we got to that Greyhound station,
moving day.
Moving
day was what, the 9th? Or the 10th?
The moving day was on the 9th.
Because we got there on the 10th. I think we got there on the 10th around 6
It was
a
24-hour drive.
Too long.
It was literally a whole entire day on the Greyhound bus.
But the word for that was happening in our brains. Woo! It was something hectic, but it was amazing.
It was just a journey, and we were just looking at the roads and all that.
And just couldn't believe that we are really leaving this place.
Yeah, we're really leaving to where God wanted us to be. It took us
so long to want to be somewhere, and it was like, this is really happening.
Yeah, it was frightening because we didn't know what was going to be next. Notice that we didn't say that we had an apartment set up.
Nothing. We ain't had no car. We ain't had no money.
We had no job set up.
no job set up.
No apartment set up.
We didn't have nothing set up to go to this new city.
And some testimonies are different. I want to say
it's different.
Everybody's testimony is different.
It's different.
You know, our testimony, we didn't need that right away.
Yeah.
But sometimes God will make you get your house
all
first.
That depends on how your life path's supposed to go. So don't think it's gonna go our way. Yours can go totally different. This is just leap of faith that God can get you there if He needs you to get there. That's where He wanted to be.
So we got there, and on August 10th,
it was great,
and it started a whole new journey for us. And
whole new journey.
We'll talk about the part 2 to that after we got there in the hotel room. What happened in a later video, but. Yeah, that is our journey to coming to Dallas, and
that's
our
testimony
story
of how God moved us here.
Yeah,
and it's been great ever since then. You're gonna have your struggles, you're gonna have your times, but it is so much better than where we was coming from.
And see, God also was putting in our heads, like when we get there, don't look back. If you read the Bible and you know about Lot and his wife, which did they give Lot wife a name? No, they didn't give Lot.
Nope, that's Lot's wife that went to Sodom.
Her looking back
on the city that God destroyed, and she turned to Sodom.
So we knew immediately, don't look back. And
another thing, not just looking back, don't go back.
Don't go back to who you used to be.
When God take you out, take you out. So stay tuned for new videos. We do have another video coming out. It's gonna be called The Grave. Wait, no. I forgot. I'm sorry. But it's gonna be a new video.
It's gonna be the graveyard shift.
The graveyard shift. Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be really good. We are studying more on that. That's why it's taking a little bit more time.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching our testimony. We hope you guys having a great day. We see you guys soon. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave a comment for your faith, leap of faith that you could have took or you want to take, that place you think God is sending you. See you guys later.